Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new episode today of Doctor Who. And today I'm going to be reviewing Ruth's character and why I believe she isn't the first Doctor. Now, there's been a lot of fans speculating because Ruth's character implies she's before William Hartnell's Doctor, the first Doctor that is, then she's got to be the first Doctor. But today I'm going to try and dismiss that theory, or why I believe that theory isn't true, okay, because I believe there's evidence fans may have missed or misjudged, okay, whilst watching the show. Now, maybe I could be wrong. Maybe later on we will find out who Ruth really is. I think we will find out who Ruth really is. But I don't think she is going to be the Doctor. Or certainly not the Doctor we know. Now, this doesn't imply she isn't an important character. She's certainly a character of importance. I think to do with the Time Lords and to do with the Timeless Child, but I don't think she's the Doctor in that essence. I think, obviously, what's happened here, there's been some timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly stuff, as David Tennant would put it, and, of course, it's done on purpose to confuse us, our thoughts, to make us talk about this subject, of course, because it's interesting, ain't it, really, to think, is there someone actually we've missed, and is there a Doctor before the Doctor sort of thing? So, yeah, we're going to be talking about this probably until the season finale, speculating who Ruth truly is, who's the Timeless Child, who's the Lone Cyberman, why is Captain Jack back, and why did the Master destroy Gallifrey? What is the secret hidden clearly from the Doctor, and what was the Master, of course? What was that secret kept hidden from him, and what did the Master find out? Enough to destroy Gallifrey himself. And, obviously, today I'm not focusing on what is the Timeless Child, but I'm focusing on who is Ruth. First, let's just go into a bit of background about Ruth. Ruth is 44 years old. She's lived in Gloucestershire since 1999. So therefore, she must at least have lived in Gloucestershire, because she apparently grew up there. So she must have lived in Gloucestershire, I would say, for a good 30 years of her life, a good proportionate amount of her life. So therefore, the year that I think it would be safe to say this is all set in must be the future, probably around, I don't know, no earlier than 2026 and no later than probably 2030, I would say, just to keep it on the safe side. So that's really when this story is set in, I would say. But at the end of the day, I probably am wrong. It probably set in just ordinary modern day times. But the thing is, what was telling, that the Doctor, or Ruth's Doctor, lived in Gloucestershire from 1999. So therefore, when she changed herself, to obviously human with the chameleon circuit, she obviously did this in 1999. Now, that's after William Hartnell, the first Doctor. The first Doctor, I think, was 1967 or something like that, It was a long time ago. So what this implies, this was actually around 30 or 40 years after William Hartnell's Doctor. But that's in the middle of, obviously, Paul McGann's Doctor and Christopher Eccleston's Doctor. Now, we already know the War Doctor was actually in the middle of them two Doctors. But could there have been another? The thing is, though, we saw Paul McGann regenerate into, obviously, John Hurt, the War Doctor. But, we didn't see who John Hurt truly regenerated into. Now, whilst many speculate John Hurt regenerated into Christopher Eccleston because of the TARDIS set, but there's nothing to say John Hurt regenerate into Ruth. Okay, into obviously Ruth's character, or Ruth's version of the Doctor. So therefore, obviously, there's nothing to say he did this or he didn't. However, as I say, the TARDIS set for John Hurt's Doctor was very similar to David Tennant's Doctor and very similar to, obviously, Christopher Eccleston's Doctor. So therefore, I think it's safe to say it was John Hurt who regenerated into Christopher Eccleston, or the War Doctor regenerated into the Ninth Doctor. So, of course, okay, if the War Doctor regenerated into the Ninth Doctor, Paul McGann regenerated into the Eighth Doctor, or the War Doctor sort of thing, then, of course, that fills that void. And there's no really other voids to fill, because we've seen, okay, all the Doctors regenerate, okay, into all the Doctors sort of thing. So we've seen right from the first, William Hartnell regenerate into Patrick Troughton, and so on and so on. So, you know, really all the voids in the story, or certainly in the regeneration cycle, have been fulfilled. So, obviously, what I'm saying, obviously, is considering, you know, that Ruth's Doctor is set no earlier than 1999, okay, and no later than 2020, no earlier than 2026, obviously, in this story. Therefore, Ruth's Doctor, okay, can't be before William Hartnell's Doctor. Now, also, the thing and the other giveaway, I think, here is the TARDIS. The TARDIS wasn't the same TARDIS that we saw Clara Osborne help the Doctor steal with Susan. Clara Osborne actually helped, in the name of the Doctor, William Hartnell to steal the TARDIS. And we saw the TARDIS in its original formality, just in a silver cylinder type shape of a TARDIS. It was basically Bob Standard, how they were meant to be. Now, Ruth's TARDIS was just a blue box. This again would indicate to me that the circuit on the TARDIS has broken. It doesn't look like, no matter where Ruth's Doctor went, it changed. Because on the Judoon ship, as we saw, it still stayed in the blue box shape. It didn't change to blend in with anything. So therefore, you'd have to conclude Ruth's TARDIS, okay, is, of course, the same TARDIS, okay, that either William Hartnell stole, therefore it's a past version, or it's a different TARDIS, completely non-related to the Doctor. Now, the thing is, as I say, most Doctors in Doctor Who like to travel within their time period. So, for instance, the 70 Doctors would go to the planets and the years would be roughly all in the 70s. Unless the Doctor was going back in time, obviously, again, you know, he wouldn't really tamper with time, okay? Or she wouldn't tamper with time. The Doctor just, you know, allowed time to do its own thing. But if it was an alien threat, of course, the Doctor would deal with the alien threat to obviously prevent the aliens from destroying or causing a tear in time. Because time's very delicate. The whole point of Doctor Who, if you go back in time, you've got to be very careful on where you tread, where you stand, because, you know, even touching the smallest butterfly can have a ripple effect and cause, obviously, big consequences. Now, as I say, you know, therefore, obviously, the same really applies going forward in the future, but the thing about future is a bit more flexible. But Ruth, why would she go to this point in time? Especially considering her TARDIS, well, considering that she's prior to William Hartnell. Then she would have to go back to, obviously Gallifrey. Or why would she even return to Gallifrey if she survives? Unless she gets taken and the Time Lords wipe or erase the Doctor's memory. Now, is that even possible? Could the Time Lords wipe Ruth's or the Doctor's memory? Of course they probably could. But at the end of the day, I think the Doctor, as a character, from what I've witnessed, is too clever for that sort of stuff. She or he would always find a way to escape and a way to sort of get around any sort of issues, such as, having your memory wiped. So therefore, I don't think that's possible. Jodie Whittaker didn't witness or can recall a face such as hers. And Jodie Whittaker, the Doctor, or Jodie Whittaker's Doctor, was very adamant about that. She, was very adamant. Also, the thing, unlike previous episodes, we've seen in the past when a Doctor meets the Doctor, it sort of messes up the TARDIS. If we go back to the day of the Doctor, when all three Doctors went in the same TARDIS, it's sort of, the TARDIS was trying to compensate for all three, so it gave a bit of all TARDISes, basically, and it kept on changing the console room to John Hurt's console room, then it was David Tennant's console room, and then eventually it turned into Matt Smith's console room. The point is, the rooms kept on changing, and we saw this in a way in the Children in Needs episode, where the Doctor sort of, basically, how can I put it, he obviously met, the Fifth Doctor, and obviously the Fifth Doctor said it's like having two TARDISes here, or there are two TARDISes here, but only one is appearing right now. So the TARDIS sort of compensates for that. This time the TARDIS didn't do that, especially Ruth's TARDIS. So again, that would suggest that maybe these characters aren't the same characters. Maybe they're from the same species, absolutely yes. But are they the same characters, or are they the two Doctors? I have my doubts. So, who is then Ruth's Doctor? I don't think Ruth's Doctor is the Doctor. I think Ruth's Doctor's got to be someone other than the Doctor. I'm thinking more down the lines of the Timeless Child. And the reason why, is because of a few things. One, if you go back to the Ghost Monument, the fabric cloth said, the Timeless Child is an outcast, abandoned, and is unknown. Now, does that fit Ruth's character? And for me, is she an outcast? Well, seemingly yes, because the Time Lord, Gat, was hunting her down, to try and obviously pay Ruth a favour from the hierarchy Time Lords. So, Time Lords above her. And, that is why Gat was in the episode. She was trying to obviously execute Ruth. So, is she an outcast? Yes. Was she abandoned? Well, her parents died young in Gloucestershire. In fact, they died really young. 1999. Really. And they left her everything, including the house. A bit strange, in my opinion. So therefore, is she abandoned? Does she have no one? Well, she does have, obviously, a boyfriend, but the boyfriend is just more of an accomplice. Isn't really anyone major, by the looks of it. And therefore, I would have to, again, conclude, yes, she does seem abandoned. And is she unknown? Well, no one knew of her before this episode. Suddenly, she becomes the most famous person in Doctor Who. So, I think that one's pretty easy as well. Is she unknown? Up to this point, yes, she was unknown. Ruth was a nobody, practically, until Jodie Whittaker stumbled upon her and the Judoon and Gat. So, therefore, you've got to conclude the answer to that is yes, she's unknown, she's abandoned, and, she's obviously an outcast. Now, the other question I've got, is she or does she match the Doctor's vision? And in the Doctor's vision, we saw a young Time Lord or Gallifreyan, okay, who was in coloured skin. I'd like to say she's, well, not half caste, but I'm going to say more towards black, okay, the actor who played her. So therefore, okay, the little girl we saw in the Doctor's vision does match that bill. So, quite frankly, okay, we sort of have all the ingredients for Ruth's Doctor to be the timeless child. Does that mean she's the Doctor? Does that mean the timeless child is the Doctor? Absolutely not. The timeless child, we don't know really how much power it has. Could it have the power to disguise itself? Absolutely. You know, we've already seen it can disguise itself in a human form. Why can't it disguise itself in the Doctor's form either? We saw, actually, Ruth could mimic Jodie Whittaker's voice. It was a bit like Midnight, when we saw that alien that came in from the shining planet, and it sort of possessed the Doctor's body. It could mimic the Doctor's voice. And why can't, obviously, Ruth, the timeless child, who could be the timeless child, you know, do the same? I think that's very plausible, and very likely. So, to wrap this up, okay, in one simple conclusion, do I think Ruth's Doctor's the Doctor? Absolutely not. I am not 100% certain, but I'm going to put, like, I'd say there's an 80% chance of Ruth's Doctor, or 90% chance of Ruth's Doctor being not the Doctor. And I think there's only a 10% chance, a very small remote chance, of the Doctor, Ruth's Doctor, being actually the Doctor. But I doubt it. But I certainly don't think she's the first Doctor. I'm almost 100% certain on that. I'd say I'm 99.9%. You can never be 100% on that, though. Do I think, though, she's got something very important to do with the timeless child? Absolutely. Got to be. Why else would she be in Doctor Who, playing one of the main characters clearly right now as the Doctor? So, you know, no hands down. Is she the timeless child? I'm a bit more obviously split on this one. I think, you know, there is a good possibility of her actually turning out to be the timeless child, but I don't think it's 100% dead certain. So please subscribe, like and share this video. Until the next time, see you all next time.